So as we've been able to see over the past 24 hours or so, John Dorsey, the Cleveland Browns front office, they've gone to work. They've gotten busy. They're trying to improve and improve quickly. And honestly, they have to do this. Because free agency alone isn't going to fix all the ills of this roster. The draft alone and all the draft pick capital currency that they have is also not going to fix this team's problems alone. They're going to have to use some of that draft pick capital, some of that cap space, to hit the trade market, to get a couple of guys. It's just the way it is. Because honestly, again, when you look at this team, it's great that they have all this draft pick capital, but they could have twice the number of picks. They could have 20-something picks, and it doesn't matter, because even if they hit on most of them, it still wouldn't make the Browns Super Bowl contenders. And I also understand, with what happened in 2017 and making history and going 0-16, you had Deshaun Kaiser and Cody Kessler and Kevin Hogan, and you don't ever want to be in that position again where that's the trio of quarterbacks you're rolling into the season with, that you want to have some type of bridge guy, some type of veteran guy, because you want to be somewhat respectable. You also want to have somebody in the fold that's been an NFL quarterback that understands the demands and rigors of the position, understands how to be a professional, especially if you're looking at drafting a guy with either the first or fourth overall pick or somewhere in the 2018 NFL draft. I get it. I get all that. But goddamn it all! Where the Browns do something really good in the Jarvis Landry trade, and you think, okay, maybe they're starting to redeem themselves, they totally wipe all of that away and establish themselves once again as the leadership doesn't matter. They still are the skid marks of the National Football League with this Tyrod Taylor deal. Trading for Tyrod Taylor is stupid. Stupid, stupid, stupid. If you want a bridge quarterback so goddamn bad and you were so insistent on giving away draft picks to get one, then why the hell didn't you just trade for Alex Smith anyways, especially if you're John Dorsey, knowing you were part of the triumvirate of brain matter that brought him to Kansas City in the first damn place? Instead, you trade for the black version of Alex Smith and a guy who isn't as good as Alex Smith. And I'm no Alex Smith fan, so believe me, that means something. Why would you give up a third-round pick for at most a one-year starter? Like, who the hell does that? Quarterback or not, doesn't matter. When you're coming off of an 0-16 season, it's not like you're on the precipice of winning the Super Bowl and you get an impact player and you have to give up a third-round pick to do so. That's one thing. That can make sense, because if that guy helps put you over the top, then that's what you do. Screw the future. Your future is now. But that is not the case for the Cleveland Browns. Why would you trade a premium third-round pick that you have for a guy who, at most, if you're lucky, is your starter for one full season? Why not instead either A, take somebody with that third-round pick that could be a good quality starter for you for 8 to 10 goddamn years, or B, use that third-round pick as draft pick capital to go get a bigger, more impact player on the trade market, or make a big move up the draft board. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Oh, because you're the freaking Browns. The faces and the names change, but the result is still the same. The definition of insanity. Do the same dumb shit over and over and over again, and yet you expect the results to be any different. Also, why would you trade, and this is not just a Tyrod Taylor thing, this is just an in general thing, why would you trade a third-round pick to get a bridge quarterback who at most might start for you for one damn year and win meaningless games for the fuck all of it and cost yourself draft position in the 2019 draft? Because the whole quarterback and young quarterback should sit garbage is just that, garbage. It is outdated garbage. And before the idiots that are surely going to bring up Deshaun Kaiser, you must keep in mind the situation. Deshaun Kaiser, frankly, wasn't really ready to start right away. He just wasn't ready. That is ultimately why he was a late second-round pick. He was also stuck in a crappy offense and a crappy situation with horrible skill talent around him, and that's the truth of the matter. And when you look at the Browns and the very high likelihood that either with the first pick or the fourth overall pick, they're taking a young QB, when you look at recent history of the NFL, sitting guys doesn't mean that they're necessarily any good. See Blake Bortles, he sat for some of his rookie season until the Jaguars realized, well, Henne fucking sucks anyways, we might as well play Bortles, and at least he sucks, we can sit there and say he's a young guy. Jared Goff's at half of his rookie year in 2016. Did that help him? Hell fucking no. Because he was in a crappy situation with a crappy head coach, a crappy offensive game plan, and mediocre offensive talent around him. Like, look at what Todd Gurley was in 2017 and look back at what he was in 2016. What's the difference? Coaching! Coaching! If you take a quarterback in the top 5, you're taking him because you believe he could be that guy. And in today's NFL, over the past decade plus, we have clearly seen examples of guys can come in right away, contribute, and hell, lead their damn teams to the playoffs if they're in a good enough situation. The NFL changes so dramatically from one year to the next, you can never rule that out as a possibility. And if the young QB that you're taking in the top 5 is good enough, which you would hope he would be if you were going to freaking take him in the top 5, then you play him right away. This whole notion of you learn best on the bench, sitting and learning, that's bullshit. It's like in the real world. Yes, training classes are nice, but at some point in time, how do you best learn how to do the job that you're going to do every day? By going and actually doing the damn job. Is another 3 months of classroom training that doesn't prepare you for the one-offs and all the other situations going to help you? Hell no. Ding dong, dumb dicks. The best way to learn something is hands-on experience. It's just so ridiculous. And again, if the young QB is good enough, that should be why you took him in the top 5. Then he needs to play right away, because what would you rather do? Would you rather win 7 or 8 games with a Tyrod Taylor type, and not just him, but a Tyrod Taylor type, a clearly bridged short-term veteran quarterback, and cost yourself draft position? Or would you rather, instead of burning your rookie quarterback top 5 picks entire season with wasting away on the bench, would you rather play the rookie quarterback with better offensive talent around him, maybe win 3 to 5 games, have him show you enough to actually establish that he might be the future of the franchise, he could be that dude, and get, maybe instead of in the late mid-teens, a first-round pick, get a first-round pick in the top 5 to 7. I don't know about you, but that second option sure sounds a hell of a lot more appealing. And then, if you do take that quarterback in the top 5, and unless you are intentionally trying to sabotage him when you get into the mini camps and the training camp and preseason, and you say no matter what, he's not going to start, which is ridiculous and dumb anyways, and counterintuitive competitive nature and so many other things, then you just gave up a 3rd-round pick for a backup quarterback. Who does that crap? If you're going to give up a 3rd-round pick for a backup quarterback, then why not just draft another quarterback, a young guy that could be the backup long-term, with the day 3 pick and pay him a shit ton less money? Doesn't that seem more logical and more sensible? And if Tyrod was so damn good, if Tyrod Taylor was that much of a quality starter in the NFL, then why in the hell would the Buffalo Bills, who just made the playoffs with the guy in 2017, want to trade his ass? Why were they in such a hurry to trade him? Why were they in such a hurry to get rid of him? Don't give me that cap number garbage. Because if he was good enough, you keep the quarterback and you figure out the cap stuff later. No position in the NFL is more valuable than the quarterback position. You get the quarterback's deal done, you take care of him in terms of the cap, you worry about everything else after that. The Bills didn't because they know the truth about Tyrod Taylor. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Bills would know better than the Browns. Even though up until this year it had been a longer period of time since the Bills had made the damn playoffs. This makes no goddamn sense. Understanding that the Bills are trading him for a reason. And not only are they trading him for a reason, you decide to be charitable and take him before the new league year starts, so that way you're on the hook for the roster bonus. Why trade for that guy when the Bills may have very well possibly released him any damn ways? Especially if they make a big move up the draft board to get a young quarterback. They're not going to want Tyrod Taylor to be there. Or why not be more patient and wait until you get to draft time and maybe you're able to give up a 5th-round pick or something like that for Tyrod. Or let him release him and then you bring him in and you sign him and you get a much lower cap figure for him. It's just unbelievably stupid. Why would you do the Bills a favor instead of waiting for the market to play out? For all you know, in a month or two, Teddy Bridgewater, Case Keenum could be sitting there and still without homes, still without starting jobs. You could swoop in at that point in time and give them a 1-year prove-it type of deal, give them the opportunity to play for 1 year, And you didn't have to give up a third-round pick to do so. And you would do it at a much lower cap figure probably than what you're going to end up paying Tyrod Taylor in 2018. And even then, I can't believe we're going to say this, but there's validity to this. If you want to go even cheaper, if Sam Bradford can still play at all, then sign him. Mike Glennon, Geno Smith. And you say, oh, Tyrod Taylor's better than them. Number one, just because a guy is better than shit doesn't mean that he's not some type of shit himself. Number two, at least for those guys, you wouldn't have to give up third-round picks. At least you know that if your rookie quarterback does anything worth a crap in the preseason leading up to the regular season, then you will have given these guys reasonable market value contracts to be a clear-cut backup, and you didn't give up a third-round pick. And here come the excuses. I know it's coming for Tyrod Taylor. Oh, he's good because PFF says so. Fuck Pro Football Focus. Just because they were able skillfully and wisely able to con Chris Collinsworth and NBC into buying their bullshit doesn't mean that I do. I don't care if your grading says he's a 14th ranked quarterback in 2017. If he is, then that suggests to me two things. One, your grading is stupid, and two, that means there's only 10 pretty good quarterbacks in the league anyways. Just because he's 14th, if he's one of the best of the crap, that still doesn't mean he's not crap. He might be more of a solid stool as opposed to straight up bloody diarrhea. The fuck is the difference? Well, he led the Bills to the playoffs. His TD to interception ratio is really good. He protects the football. He's a dual threat guy. He lacks weapons on offense. And yet Robert Woods goes to Los Angeles and has the best year of his career. Guys like Jordan Matthews are brought in and Kelvin Benjamin are brought in, and you can sit there and blame injuries and crap. But even when they were at least somewhat healthy, they didn't do shit because the quarterback sucked. So many people were giggly tits about Zay Jones in the second round for them. How do you look? You look terrible. And if you want to put that all on the wide receiver, then that's your ass. The only pass catchers that are successful in that Bill system in 2017 are Charles Clay when he's healthy. Why? Because he's a short intermediate target and LaShawn McCoy out of the fucking backfield. And this whole thing of he wins games. What a load of shit. Win-loss is a flawed measurement at times for a quarterback anyways. Because if we're going to use that, Rex Grossman took his team to a goddamn Super Bowl. Does that mean Rex Grossman's good? Hell no, it doesn't. Ding dong, dumb dicks. Just because a team won some games with a guy doesn't mean he contributed a lot to it. In many cases, it means they won in spite of him, not because of him. And that's what happened with Tyrod Taylor. This TD interception ratio is also garbage. When you take bad sacks consistently, when you can't see the field consistently, and you're checking the ball down all the goddamn time, you're not going to throw a whole lot of interceptions. It's like saying, well, his completion percentage isn't that bad. When so many of his throws are safe and conservative, game manager my ass, it's because he's not good enough to be a big-time quarterback. And again, the team that he's been the starter for the past 3 seasons, even with a coaching change, whatever. Yeah, he was Rex Ryan's guy. But Sean McDermott just made it to the playoffs in his first season as a head coach. Why would he be in such a hurry to get rid of his starting quarterback? He's eager to get rid of him for a reason, and not just because his Peter gets hard for Nathan freaking Peterman. They know that they often won in spite of him, not because of him. And you could talk all that crap about, well, when they got to the playoffs, they faced a really good defense in the Jaguars. They did, but that doesn't mean that the Jaguars can't be scored on. The Bills' offense was atrocious because Tyrod Taylor was atrocious. It's one thing if he was released and the Browns signed him to a low number deal. Fine, cool, because he has 3 years of starting experience in the NFL. He's got some dual threat ability. He's a guy that you could bring in a pinch and not feel too terrible about. Why would you bring him in, though, to possibly win you some meaningless games, even if you said, oh, it goes splendidly, and he makes the damn playoffs as a starting quarterback? Then what the hell does that mean for your team long term? Nothing! Because you still wouldn't have played the young quarterback, and you just fucked off a season on this guy. It's just so damn stupid. He isn't terrible, but he isn't very good. And giving up a third-round pick for, at best, a one-year starter, if he even ends up being that, is just stupid. And it's, of course, So Cleveland, and that's why I call him the hashtag skid mark. Give me a break.